Today's episode is a big one. We're chasing suspension upgrades for Ron Burgundy, fixing the guards that we absolutely destroyed last week,
Let it eat.
and wrapping it all up with a full sound deadener install. There's plenty going on, so let's get into it. I'm starting today's episode off with a bit of a vlog. Need to do just a bunch of errands today, so I'm going to bring you guys along. We are taking Ron Burgundy to do it because it's the only car that can pick up what I need to pick up. But yeah, pretty much going to start by going and dropping off some of the Stay Classy window banners to... How many we got? We got 3 Stay Classy window banners that need to be dropped into a post box, so thank you guys for ordering them. And then we're going to head straight to Superior and pick up some new parts for Mr. Berg. First spot's just here. Got to post these Stay Classy banners. If you want one, aromlife.com. Check them out. Pretty mint. All done. Right now, we pretty much need to get fuel, and that means coffee, so we'll do that. .216 horsepower is definitely fun in a TD. I literally just almost sideswiped someone on a roundabout. They just pulled out right in front of me. Gotta be careful. What are we rolling with today? $1.96. Probably just go $50 in there, eh? Right, got the coffee. Got the fuel, off to Superior now. An old bloke just came up and said, bloody hell, you build a good car. And I said, oh, thanks mate, it's been a 2-year build. And he goes, yeah, I know, I've been watching. And I think it's crazy just to see all this different sorts of people that watch the videos. Shout out to that guy, thanks for saying g'day. I freaking love when people say hello. But yeah, off to Superior. The one thing that really needs addressing is the sound in here. So we've only got carpet, we've got no underlay, no sound deadener, and it is extremely noisy inside of this cab. What I want to do is do a decibel reading and figure out, oh, I just got cut off again. Literally, like, what is wrong with people today? What I was saying was I need to get a decibel reading of inside of the car. Then I'm going to put the sound deadening in, and we're going to see how much difference it actually makes. Get out on a gravel road, you cannot hear anything when you're inside of this cab. Something that desperately needs doing. That's Lockie driving past right there from Caboolture One Stop Tyre. They're the blokes that supply all my tyres at the moment, so the Falcon just got fitted up with some new ones, which you'll see soon. But yeah, shout out to Lockie. Pretty much my first time vlogging, and it's all happening, guys, so yeah, let me know what you think. This thing is actually so violent. The screamer pipe sounds insane. So this is Superior's somewhat new building. It's a couple of years old now, but it's right there. So here we are, Superior Engineering. These guys have helped us out with suspension from the very start. Now you're probably thinking you've already got Superior under your car, but we're just changing a few little bits and pieces, which I'll run you through when I get home. But like I said, these guys have supported us from the very start. Even with Cole, they helped us out on the suspension. So definitely recommend Superior, guys. They put a lot of R&D into their product, and it's also engineerable, which is the big part. So check them out if you're looking for suspension. But I'm going to go in and check out the shop. One day we might have a 79. This is crazy. Full coil. Legal probably on 37s or 35s. One day, boys. I see Max Cruiser in there, getting some work done. Just bring the pallet around now. I'm gonna have to unpack it into the car. Do you mind if I unpack it into the car? Is that all right? Right, we're all loaded up with superior gear, and I'll run through that a little bit later. But what I'm going to do is I've downloaded a sound meter on my phone. I'm just going to run this as I drive back, and we're just going to see what we get up to in volume in the cab. Just leave it sitting right there, and we'll see what it gets up to. Just pulling onto the highway. So far we're at 105 decibels for around the town. See what the highway gets up to. Right, now I've just pulled up at the forestry to get a thumbnail for this week's video, but on the highway we maxed out 105. At idle it's about 85. Once I take the thumbnail, we'll go for a quick drive on the gravel, and I'm sure that's going to go up over 105. It's saying it's equivalent to a subway train, which is crazy. It is very loud in here. It's hard to put that into the camera, but yeah, it's very loud. Let's see if we can get a nice thumbnail. We're in a pretty nice spot here. A lot of the stuff you guys don't typically see is thumbnails and all the work that goes onto the computer. Thinking something like that. Posted up with the trees. Looks pretty good there. Right, we're back on the sound meter because I'm going to go up this gravel road and we'll just see what it gets to. But currently our max is 105, and at idle 82. We'll see how high we can get it. Like I said, very loud. We're just going to try right here for a thumbnail because it looks pretty cool on this road. Like that. Looks sick. The sound meter read 105.4 again, which is exactly what it maxed out on the highway. So pretty consistent noise when driving. Hopefully when we do the full sound deadening kit, we'll come back out, we'll do this exact road, we'll hit the highway, and we'll just make sure that it actually works, and I'll let you guys know. Anyway, let's turn around and head back. I need to go to Bunnings to pick up some stuff for the back to get the rear end sorted so we can get this thing out in camp. Right, now this actually marks the first time I'm taking Ron Burgundy into the timber yard at Bunnings. And yes, that is an achievement for me. Love the timber yard. Right, so I only need a few bits and pieces from here, so it shouldn't take too long. Next minute, 4 hours in the store. That shouldn't be that long. Gee, she looks good in here, boys. Right, so the ply I use isn't actually in the timber yard. It's down here in this section. And hopefully they've got some. It's 12mm form ply that I'm looking for. I don't like the 17, it's just a bit too heavy. They might be out of stock. Geez, they actually might be out of stock. Might have to go to the other one. So what I want is out of stock here, but it is in stock at my other local store. So I'm just gonna head there now. It's a shame, but I want that stuff because it's easy to work with and it's cheap. So we're gonna head there now. Right, pulling into the second Bunnings of the day. God, I'm spoiled. Nice little spot for us right there. We'll go see if we've got the right stuff here. Right, so the same aisle, there it is there. Now this stuff here is 12mm form ply. 1200 by 1200, that's the one, and it's only 43 bucks a sheet. Super strong but nice and light. So I'll get a couple of those, some carpet, and we'll be able to do the back. Right, I've got all the stuff, so time to head back to the shed and we'll unload it and we'll go through the plan. Right, so we're back in the shed and I want to quickly show you guys the damage from full driving the other day. But as you can see here, we've rubbed quite bad there. It's taken some paint off. This is going to need trimming a lot more so we can flex up and do it. We also have the tyre hitting the inside of the wheel arch there, which isn't the best. So I kind of want to sort that out as well with some bump stops. And then look at the front, like it just completely turned over the front. It's cut the tyre a little bit. The flare's hanging off. It's just not good. The front has also been damaged here. You can see it's rolled the guard in. So I'm going to have to trim that quite a fair bit more in order to allow for the clearance. Now that brings me to the reason we were at Superior. We've gone with not only a different type of coil, but a different height and some longer shocks and extended shock towers to suit it all. But pretty much these are flexi coils. Now, I didn't order these originally. I didn't really even know about them, but we did just put these in my brother's ute and they seem to be amazing. You can see the coil height is really tall and we have a progressive spring, so it's really closed down the bottom and then wide coil at the top. What these do is they compress a lot so that when you flex, they compress out and the coil kind of stays where it needs to be. When we went forward driving, you could hear all the clunks and bumps and stuff from my coils moving around. So that's really going to help with that. I've also decided to change the height. So we're doing 4-inch front, 3-inch rear, and then we've got the longest shocks that we could possibly order. We've got 6-inch shocks for the rear and 7-inch shocks for the front. So the travel is going to increase, the ride height's going to increase, the way the coil works is going to be better. The car is also leaning heavily to the driver's side because we've got the spare tire and the battery and me in the driver's side, so it's leaning quite a lot. So we've gone with 2 different types of coils here, which Superior have organized, and you can see the height of this is a little bit taller. That is actually due to the spring rate being a lot stiffer than the other one. So this one needs to go in the driver's side to keep the car leaning to the passenger side. And yeah, it's going to fix all the small little problems. I've also got some bump stop extensions. So what we're going to do is pretty much just pull all the suspension out. We'll pull the coils and the shocks out. I'm going to try and sit it on the bump stops. We're going to figure out exactly where the car needs to be cut and trimmed and see if anything's binding up or anything like that. And then we can start to fit all our new products up, and we should be unlocking a bunch of flex, but also not allowing that tire to bind up on anything and stop us while we're forward driving. So removing the shocks allows me to remove the coil quite easily. Once that's out, I can sit it back down on the bump stops and then flex it up on one side so I can see exactly where the tire was contacting the guard. It is a little bit difficult just with a crane, but it's the best I got and I'm just trying to make it work. That now is sitting on the bump. You can see we've still got a fair bit of clearance here. It's obviously pushed it right back, but when all the force and stuff is on the body, the whole car moves around quite a fair bit. So that's why we need to cut this back probably another 10 mil past that. And then the front section here is also quite bad as well. It is also touching at the back there, so that's something that we're going to have to adjust. So I've just taken this last coil out and I want to see what it just sits at on full bump. Right, now that we're both on full bump, I can kind of see what's going on. This has pushed this flare right up. So there's weight on that, which means that we don't have enough bump stop in it. We need to extend that a little bit more. So yeah, we definitely need to extend the bump stops, put the coils in. We need to do dropout cones and the coil retainers while we're at it. And yeah, pretty much get this thing to be able to flex without binding up. Right, so I've actually just gone ahead and put the coil retainers in. It's really hard to get under there and show you, but they are in, and what that's going to do is stop the coil falling out. I couldn't put it in before because Harry actually had my engine crane, so I only just got that back today. But I want to quickly show you the difference with these coils. Now the black one is the old coil and this is the new one. So you can see there's a massive height difference where this is a 3-inch and this is a 2-inch. So it should only be, you know, probably that much higher. We're basically going to get that much more travel before we hear any coil bumping or knocking, which is going to be cool. Plus you get the Superior famous grey there, which looks sick, as opposed to the black. So I'm going to whack these in now and check out our new ride height. So now that I've checked over the back, I'm going to go ahead and fit the coils and shocks and then move my way up to the front. In the front, we are changing from a 2-inch coil to a 4-inch flexi coil, as well as increasing the shock length quite a fair bit. Because we're going a much larger shock, we also need to upgrade the shock tower in order to fit the shock in there correctly. Now that means I do need to cut into the engine bay in order to fit the bigger tower in, but that wasn't too bad to do. And now that the tower is fitted up, I can go ahead and test fit the coil. This is actually a good time to explain these flexi coils. That has only just come unweighted, and look how high the freaking flex is at the moment. So before, my coil would have pretty much been down to about here or maybe here, and it probably would have fallen out. So now it's going to stay in there. Hey D's, high five. Good chat. All right, so that's pretty much the shock fully maxed out. It's not bolted in, but it's just maxed out. So that is how much flex we now have in the front, which is quite a fair bit more. And that coil is pretty much, it is fully seated right there. So the flexi coil and this setup is definitely the go. Look how good that looks. So I'm gonna bolt that up and then go ahead, cut the coil tower on the other side, get the shock and coil fitted up. And we can finally see what this thing looks like with 4 and 3 on it. Look how much bigger that is. It is enormous. Like if the bonnet was shut, it'd pretty much go up to my nipple, where before we only had a 2-inch lift. We've only gained 2 inches of coil, but because the compression of the coil, like the spring rate is so much better, it's gonna sit up a lot higher, and it's also not leaning anymore at all. If anything, it's leaning to the passenger side, just a couple of mil, which is perfect, because when I hop in the driver's side, that'll level it out. But yeah, this is crazy. We've also unlocked a ton more flex. Like you guys seen how much the car was moving even when I was just lifting it up with the engine crane. I know there's been a lot of comments ever since we put the suspension in that it needs more lift, and I was trying to keep that real low and wide look. But honestly, I think this does look a lot better, and it's going to perform a lot better too, which is the biggest thing. Definitely made it a lot harder to work on the engine though. Like I can't even reach in there anymore. I'm going to need to get a step or something, but that's minor. But anyway, what we need to do is keep going with the clearancing of the wheel. So we just need to make sure the wheel goes up. You guys know the deal and can turn and everything. The back's probably the most important part. So I'm going to start there, and we're going to start with the bump stops. So we've got these upgraded like 80 series style bump stops, and they're really good, but they compress quite a fair bit. When we were out full driving, this was compressed probably about half of what you can see now. So what we're going to do is put these billet cut Superior Engineering extension blocks in. So they've got a thread on them that'll thread in. Actually, it goes that way. But that'll sit in there and extend that down another 50 mil. And then hopefully we can stop the wheel going up as high. Now, up travel is extremely important. So you don't want too much. And we honestly might need a little bit more than 50. We might need to go to 75 or something. But I want to try 50 first because I want to keep as much up travel as I possibly can. There's nothing that I love more than cutting into a fresh build and some fresh paint. So let's get cracking. Now earlier on, I fitted Superior Engineering's dropout cones, which will catch the coil if it was to ever fall out, and it'll also guide it back up into its seat. Right now, I'm putting in the coil retainers, which will hold the coil in place, and it'll stop it from twisting, or if it was to ever come completely unseated, it'll stop it falling out. Now once everything was bolted in, it was time to start clearancing the guards, which if you guys remember a few episodes ago, we already done, but when you take it out full driving, the weights change, the car acts completely differently to what it does in the shed on an engine crane, so obviously we didn't trim enough. Now after I cut it, I used Raptor liner on the raw steel, and then I filled it all with Sikaflex to stop the water getting in. Right, everything has been clearanced, cut, and it's looking a lot better. You can see we're kind of following the lines of the bar work now and just opened up that wheel arch a lot. And then at the front, we've trimmed off quite a fair bit. You can see that one's also following the brush bar now. So yeah, see you later, some metal. Hello, some flex. So everything has been Raptor-coated and then filled with Sikaflex. So there's no moisture or anything that's going to get through that. Sikaflex is pretty good stuff. It's obviously not ideal, but these Kenders, they're pretty much 36s, and 36s are not meant to go on the back of a GQ wagon. So we're trying to just make everything work the best that we can, and the grinder definitely had to come out. I've got all the flares on except this one because it did mince one of the tabs, and I did have to make a tab, and I've just got that drying in some araldite now. You can see it's just tacking up now. So once that's dry, I can go ahead and put everything back on and then mix up just a little bit more red and just touch up where I've done that cut there. Now the next part I am not really looking forward to, but the whole interior has to come out, which is not too bad to be honest, because I haven't put it all back in yet. But seats out, carpet out, and then we're going to do a full car builder's sound deadening kit that I bought, and we're going to really test it and see if it actually makes a difference. Downside is it does add a lot of weight, but the upside is if we can bring that cabin noise down, it's got to be much nicer car to drive, which obviously makes a big difference in the long run. It does make sense to get this done now too, because the back is still stripped out. We're doing 12 volt and a drawer in there. You can see the door cards are still off. So we'll get all the sound deadening done now, then we can put the door cards, everything back on later on, and everything's then nice and quiet, hopefully. Right, got the interior fully stripped out. Wasn't too bad to do because I was actually nowhere near finished putting it back together. But as you can see, we've got this black paint down. I did that in a previous episode. So we're pretty much prepped up and ready to go. There's not too much more that I need to do. As I was stripping it out, you can hear just how drummy the floor is. And that's what we're really hearing, like sort of reverb through the car. I noticed it the most when I was pulling the seats out up here. Listen to how tingy that is. So what we're doing is the inside of the doors here and the floor. I'm not pulling the roof liner out to do the roof, so we're basically just doing a floor and door kit. Now the kit that I've bought is the full GQ Patrol Car Builders kit. Now the good thing about this kit is that, sorry Diesel, I'm trying to film here mate. Hey buddy, hey bud, sit. Good boy, shake, good boy. Right Diesel, the kit we've got is the Car Builders kit. You see that mate? It's pretty good, eh? So the good thing about the Car Builders kit is these pieces here are actually pre-cut to the car. They're kind of templated and notched out for all the seatbelt threads and all that sort of stuff. This is just going to keep getting in the way until I give him some scratches. So. But the sound deadening itself is super easy because it's just this matting section here, and it's got a sticky back on it and some thick butyl rubber under there. And this is basically what creates the sound deadening in the car, and then you overlay the noise liner over the top, and we should have a very, very quiet cab after all this goes in. Right, sound deaden test number 1. I mean, that feels more dense, feels more sound deadened, and this is only the bottom layer. We've still got another layer to put on top. I've not even finished the floor. I've still got the wheel arches. I've still got the doors to do, and I've only got 2 packs left, so I'm hoping that I've got enough to just get it all done. I've pretty much just stuffed as much as I could around the gearbox tunnel and up around the firewall there, because that's where all of the noise is coming from the engine, so I really wanted to try and block that out. And then I think once we do the doors and put the mat on, this is just going to be really, really nice to drive in here, where before it was just chaotic, super loud. But yeah, we made huge progress. I'm hoping next week we can just finish it off, get the drawer in, 12-volt fridge, everything that you need to go camping, and we'll be that much closer to having this thing pretty much dialed for the rest of its life. Also, I will have a link to everything that we used down below, so check it out if you want to buy some of this stuff and sound dead in your car and make a mess and have a good time doing it. It's pretty fun. Big jigsaw puzzle. All right, anyway, I'm going. Catch you boys. Which way am I going to go? This way.